How many grafts are needed for an eyebrow transplant? So this depends on if you're just filling in the brows that you have or if you're totally transplanting an entire eyebrow. If it's just a fill-in, this can be as small as a 100 to 200 graft transplant. It won't take very long and you have a very, very tiny donor site back here. If you don't have any eyebrow hairs because of tattooing, because of chemotherapy, because of a lot of different reasons, this can range from 500 to 1,000 grafts, just depending on how thick it is that you want them to be and what shape it is that you want. Still, even with that, ends up being in a relatively small donor area here in the back of your hair that's easy to hide and minimal as far as downtime. A few days, usually about a week. This also depends on how thick that you want the transplants. If it's going to take 1 to 2 sessions, we do as much as we can in one session. This can be the 500, maybe 1,000 grafts. And then the second session, you'd probably add another 500 to get to the 1,000, or just fill in with 100 or a couple hundred grafts, just depending on how many take or don't take. In general, the eyebrow hair take is really pretty good. It can be up to 95 or more %. But everyone's different, and there's always 1 or 2 hairs that aren't going to make it, and then you just need to fill it in either with a pencil or with an additional transplant. How long do eyebrow transplants last? The great thing with eyebrow transplants is as long as you have hair where it came from, where we take it, you pretty much have it the rest of your life. The eyebrow transplant will last. It's wonderful because it's your own hair. It lasts pretty much forever. It will grow as long as these hairs back here grow. So it's not like it's microblading where you'll have to come back and do it over time. Once it's done, it's done. The maintenance part that you have to do is, again, it will grow like the hair where you took it from, so it will grow long. What you need to do is trim it and shape it to the shape that you want it to be. Otherwise, you will have very long eyebrows. How much does an eyebrow transplant cost? This depends on where you are and your surgeon and how many grafts that you're doing. For most hair transplant surgeons, we do have an eyebrow transplant cost, and it's not necessarily per graft. A lot of times you are going for an end result, not necessarily counting the grafts as you go. So a lot of times this can range from $2,500 to $5,000 depending on your location, your surgeon, and what you're planning. Could I use Rogaine for my eyebrows? You could, but it's not necessarily something that you want to get on other areas of your face or in your eyes. Those 1 or 2 little chin hairs or hairs out here that you don't necessarily want them to grow, you would definitely not want to get some Rogaine on that. And again, not in your eyes. What works really well though is Latisse. If you get that and you put it on your brows, that will actually help them grow. When you stop using it, they will go back to the way they were, but that's true for Rogaine as well. The plus with Latisse is, if you will, is hyperpigmentation of the skin. However, that sort of fills in and makes the skin underneath it a little bit darker and makes your brows look darker, and most people actually enjoy that little side effect. Will Viviscal regrow eyebrows? Maybe. It could have a little bit of an effect. It's not going to be dramatic. In general, the vitamins aren't super dramatic in eyebrows because it's more that those follicles aren't necessarily growing, that they're rather than them not being in the growth phase. So you could try it and it could help, but I haven't seen it be really very dramatic. Is eyebrow transplant surgery painful? I will say no. Most of my patients that have had it say the anticipation of it was actually worse than that procedure itself. We're able to give you medications to make you really nice and relaxed. We numb the area, and then after that, you really don't feel anything. And everyone has told me that it's much better than what they anticipated because you just really don't necessarily know what to expect until you've already done it. Have questions? Would sincerely love to hear from you. Call or email anytime. Thanks for watching.